What's up, everybody? It is the Dark Conservatarian, and yes, you see me right. I am back in the black pea coat, as y'all like that a little bit better than the wannabe Boogaloo boy sort of costume that I kept on rocking for the past few weeks. But anyway, here today on this live stream, we are, of course, as the title suggests, going to be talking about the first 100 days of the Biden administration and how that has went, the pros, cons, and all that stuff. And join with me thus far, anyways, there are more people that are invited, and hopefully they go joining along at some point within this live stream. And by the way, I don't plan this to go any longer than 2 hours or much longer than 2 hours, just FYI to you guys. But joining me right now is, I guess, our token Canadian Whitesnake, who's a subscriber of mine. Say hi, Whitesnake.
How's it going?
Right. And here to redeem himself from the Cult of Ham debate is Night Shift 10,000. Say hi, bro.
Yo, what's up?
Cult of Ham?
I debated Cult of Ham on gun control and whatnot. Didn't do too well, but I'm back.
It's mostly...
Wait, I'm just... Cult of Ham. That's a really stupid name.
I really hope he's watching right now. I really hope he is.
I have a feeling that he's not. I mean, we pretty much gone our separate ways and are just ignoring each other nowadays. So highly unlikely, but nonetheless, that comment right there was, by the way, just a little roasting of a comment, self-deprecating comment that you made about yourself at, later point in that live stream or when that we were just chilling, Yeah. But yeah. Yep. So, to sort of get down to brass tacks, the Joe Biden administration. Yeah. Of course, he is our president, as it at least stands in all practicality anyways, regardless of whatever voter fraud allegations that people on the further right than me even want to say about that subject. Just saying further right as... a catch-all, just to going with that term for right now. I'm not using that as a pejorative, by the way. But, yeah, overall, I guess I would say that I am disapproving of the Biden administration. There is not one thing that I can say that I really approve or like about the guy. There are only like two very minor things that I can say that I kind of like, but everything else is just outright bad, especially the attempt on our gun rights. As you guys had seen that he was advocating that... That he is pushing for the Supreme Court to allow police officers to seize guns without warrant, right?
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
I have not heard that. Could you bring me up to speed on that one?
It was from a Forbes magazine article. It hasn't become... I don't think it has, successfully gone through, but basically what they were trying to push for was that... the technical terminology. They're trying to make the idea of somebody waving around a gun or possessing a gun and showing it in general in their house, and a police officer can see it through a window. It would fall under reasonableness, quote unquote, for them to just go in and take it away. And the rule. Yeah,
I really need to pay more attention to American news if I'm gonna remain in spaces like this. I primarily only pay attention to what happens up here in Canada.
I gotcha. Well, we can talk about Justin Trudeau at some short segments of this live stream as well, if so as to bide time a little bit, or Biden time rather, pun intended.
Nice. Oh, but, here's the other thing. Let's not ignore Biden's earlier tweet saying you can either get the vaccine or you can wear the mask until you do, basically cementing himself as kind of a dictator right now.
Yeah.
Emphasis on dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. At first I thought you were about to mention the comment that you were going to quote him saying that not all amendments are absolute. To sort of say
which includes the 16th Amendment, or wait, which one has to do with
16th Amendment? I think is the one that has to do with income tax. If that was where you're taking that,
yes,
yeah. So basically, I can just go further beyond just the loopholes and tax breaks, all the little exceptions within filing taxes. I can go a little bit further than that and just pay less than what is required even after the loopholes and so forth, by the logic of not all amendments being absolute. So take that, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
The 13th isn't absolute, says 12, asks 12 Shy Guy. I can't remember what the 13th one is. Actually, let me
Google it.
look that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hello, everybody in the live chat who is here so far. We have Tinsel Town Queen and, of course, 12 Shy Guy, who I mentioned
Okay,
a little
the
bit earlier.
13th Amendment had something to do with the abolition of slavery, so...
Oh.
Oh, dear. Oh, my.
So, in theory, the 3/5 compromise still stands, y'all.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez. Wow.
Yep.
By his logic, anyways. And anybody who wants to edit me out of context and saying that, fuck you. I'm not advocating for us to go back to slavery. All right? All right.
Yeah, slavery was a mistake.
Interesting. I saw your comment on a video about Hugh Hefner versus Pee Wee Herman. Nice. Nice for you to join the program, 12 Shy Guy. But yeah, Mateo is like one of my favorite rappers on the Epic Rap Battle Parodies crew. But anyway, and also hello Scorch and JC Armitage. Tinseltown Queen says down here, all hail Joe Biden of the mask. Hear his name and tremble. Ugh, ugh. Right?
Yeah. Really.
So, are there like any comments that you have to make, that either of you two have to make about Joe Biden and when it comes to guns, any information or disapprovals, that specific disapprovals that you want to mention about him that you have?
In all honesty, in all ways, Joe Biden's just a shit president. I mean, I thought we had bad times with Trump, but he's just getting started off to a terrible start. And this first 100 days has been terrible, but you don't have to take my word for it. Take the people that were rioting in Washington in January's word for it. I mean, they were willing to riot in Washington, D.C. over him getting elected.
That would be me. That would be my YouTube channel or there.
Nice.
My comment.
Oh, T. Douglas McIntosh. Okay, I thought it was just some rando. Anyway, you're saying that shift about the Capitol riots?
The Capitol riots, basically. I mean, people were willing to riot because this guy got elected. I mean, that really should tell you a lot about him. But yeah, he has made bad decision after bad decision, and if he doesn't go down as a bad president, he's going to go down as a lackluster one. There's no way he's going to be remembered as a great president.
Right.
Yeah,
and
it's primarily his lackluster and downright sort of cringe qualities, which is exactly why I supported him. Believe it or not.
Right. I just want to say before I go asking about that Whitesnake that the thing that we all like to think about presidents is of what they've accomplished or what they actually got done, as in terms of how much we approve them and whatnot. And the thing that I want to put on the table is that I think that a president is bad also by what they attempt, not just by what they successfully do. Like Barack Obama, for example, I disapprove of him on guns. If anybody was to come in saying, oh, but he did not actually take away our AR-15 or ban them or whatever, my comeback would be all like, maybe not, but he certainly made an attempt on that back in 2013, along with the Democrats in the Senate and so forth. So it's all like, I don't really care. So that's kind of one of the metrics that I'm going to go off of by how much I disapprove of Joe Biden. Like, aside from massive spending and executive orders to kind of undo past executive orders by Trump and whatnot, he hasn't done a whole lot as of yet, although he definitely is making an attempt on a lot of areas, like when it comes to gun rights or I think raising the minimum wage is another one, et cetera, et cetera. Also, one thing that I would like to point out to Night Shift, in regards of your comment about the Capitol riots, like you say that is a sign of how bad Biden is. I would kind of have to disagree with that, because if I was to like argue devil's advocate, anyways, a Biden supporter would be all like, just because Trump supporters are being a bunch of babies does not mean that he's actually bad. It just means that they are overreacting or whatever.
I can see that. I can see that.
All right, and so Whitesnake, please explain to the audience how it is that you support and why it is that you support Biden.
I primarily support him on sort of like Machiavellian grounds. To basically go over this, let's talk about what's his name again? Joe Biden and his qualities and whatnot. So basically, Joe Biden is, the way I see it, the spokesperson and the salesperson for the radical ID poll left, and primarily in the primarily the hold on, let me pull it up. This is from Mencius Moldbug's blog on greymuir.substack.com, and he's basically talks about how that basically Joe Biden is uncharismatic. He's uncharismatic. Almost everybody who voted for him pretty much understands that, yeah, he's corrupt, but everyone voted for him because they wanted Trump out. But so right now we have a uncharismatic and corrupt person in power whom everyone knows is corrupt. Everyone knows these things, and is the salesperson for the radical left. How well do you think that's going to blow over for the radical left? So,
what are you about to say?
Yeah, I had this whole speech out planned about my views on this before the thing. I had it all in my mind. I literally rehearsed in front of the mirror before this, but apparently
this would be where that writing down your speech on a word pad or something would kind of
that would be good. That would be a good idea.
Just future reference.
So basically, he's uncharismatic and is trying to push all of these policies, and pretty much from the looks of it, people are starting to not go along with it. And one other thing I think people should notice is that with the radical left, they've pretty much gained plenty of power through the past 4 years, and they've gained power through the 8 years before that under Barack Obama. Why? Because Barack Obama was pretty charismatic. I think he was able to convince a lot of people to go along with his flat out bullshit ideas, and Trump was presented as this big threat. And so with all of these out of the way, with no threat or no charismatic person at the head of it, the progressives won't be able to push their trolley along, if you will. Also, I think, and then another interesting thing I think you might pay attention to is that when Trump was elected, he promised to quote unquote drain the swamp, and a lot of people on the far left were thinking, oh, there is no swamp, and then 2020 comes around, people are saying,
really?
No, he just made the swamp even worse. And I'm like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, so there was a swamp after all.
Far leftists would say supposedly that there is no swamp.
I guess.
Maybe establishment or corporate Democrats, but I would kind of take a gander that a lot of far leftists would believe that people like the Bushes and the McConnells of the United States government are the swamp, and whatever corporate Democrat that they dislike. And I just want to kind of annotate as well that to argue in all fairness, I believe that a lot of progressives and Justice Democrats, they would at least try their best anyways to disown Joe Biden as far as representation of their ideology goes. Like, United States seems to be in this mindset of whoever is elected or was last nominated for president is pretty much the representation of the appropriate party's political thought. Like, for example, for example, Hillary Clinton was like a representative to some extent of left-wing, at least American left political thought, and Trump was a representative of right-wing political thought.
Right. So as I was saying, so basically, fuck, I forgot everything I was going to say. Hate when this happens.
Well, and I just wanted to insert that this last election that we've had, talking about the radical left, this last election is really more or less on the verge of making them almost irrelevant. And I mentioned this in one of my videos because if the radical left, if they wanted something radical, if they wanted something that was new or exciting or dynamic, they would have elected someone like Andrew Yang or Tulsi Gabbard. But no, I mean, it's like what I said in my video. They chose a rich old white dude and a rich old white dude and a rich old white dude, and it's like their three top candidates were Bloomberg, Bernie Sanders, and Joe Biden, and it's like, really, really, you guys are going with this? I mean, you guys are going literally with what the establishment wants. I mean, these guys, we're not going to see any changes with them. If Bernie Sanders even had made it to the election or to the presidency, which we now know he would have, he wouldn't have had any direct impact on the presidency either. And most of the candidates that were at the top were very bland candidates. I mean, as much as the liberals want to spice up Bernie Sanders and make him look all exciting and dynamic, he really is just kind of mediocre. So, I mean, the thing about it is that
I don't know if I would fully agree with that personally, but go on.
But the thing about it is that this last election, it's almost at risk of making the left more irrelevant looking than anything else, because it's like, you had the chance to non-conform. You had the chance to follow your own credo, or at least what you say is your credo. And you chose to be extremely mediocre with mediocre candidates that are really just within the establishment, or within the establishment that you guys say you oppose. So, I mean, really, the radical left at this point, I would give it only a few more years before it, before the left might not even be a party. I mean, before we might not even have a Democratic Party or anything like that, because honestly, things are not looking good for the left right now.
You think that the Green Party would come in as a replacement for the Democrat Party by chance?
I hope not, but it might be that they might come in as a replacement. I really hope that we do see a shakeup of the establishment. And if we if we must have a government, if the world would just explode without a state or a government and everyone would just die without it, then I would hope, at least, given that we must have a government, God forbid, but still, that it would actually open up the floor to a lot of what are now considered fringe parties, like the Libertarian Party, the Green Party, the Independent Party, and hopefully it would break up the two-party system.
Yeah, that reminds me, up here in Canada... Right? Up here in Canada, there was a party that formed recently under Maxime Bernier. It's called the People's Party, which is a right-wing populist party, which is quite different than what you expect when I say that. They're actually very good. Like, I forget when this was, but but they sort of proposed that the People's Party and the Libertarian Party up here sort of merge together, so to speak. And the Libertarian Party is actually pretty good. Their sort of current party leader is a very, very staunch Rothbardian.
Oh, nice.
By the way, for anybody who is like only listening and not watching this stream, not actually watching this stream, Night Shift was chuckling at the chat comment that I pulled up here from JC Armitage.
Yeah.
But Night Shift, this old white dude had an old brown chick as his VP pick. That makes him totally different. See? Well,
who's an ex-cop, I might add.
Right. I mean, she's not that old if I was to play devil's advocate. And when it comes, relatively speaking, to politicians, she isn't that ugly. Like, she isn't as
Joe Biden ugly.
Really?
Well, yeah, she's not as not ugly. She's not as not ugly as, say, Tulsi Gabbard or even Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but in relation to politicians in general.
Oh, and are we still taking bets on whether or not Kamala Harris is going to be announced the president because Joe Biden is declared incompetent? Or are we still taking bets on that, or is Joe Biden in there?
I don't know. I'm gonna hold my breath, but maybe. Sorry, what were you saying? That shit. Whitesnake, excuse me.
I was gonna say that because I'm having difficulty explaining it, I might as well post the link to Moldbug's Substack in the chat so people can check out his stuff he wrote on the election.
Go ahead. By the way, I guess I never gave you an invite to my Discord server, Whitesnake, did I?
Well, I mean, you did give me an invite to the group DM about the first 100 days thing.
Yeah, no, I did, but I guess I'll give you an invite right now, but to the actual server of mine. But anyway, what was I gonna say? As far as like charisma goes and whatnot, like the only way that I say that Joe Biden did win was indeed what you kind of said a little bit earlier, Night Shift, is that it's most of the voters. I would in fact take a gander that most, if not all, the voters of Joe Biden were either voting for him just because he's not Trump, or they were just voting for him just because of name recognition of being Barack Obama's, VP, which Barack Obama is still like a fairly popular guy for the normie left. Not so much for the far left, anyways, because Cenk Uygur, TYT, and whatnot, they have some disapprovals of Barack Obama. But normie liberals, they'd probably like fawn over the good old days where that Barack Obama was in office, but
or when Bill Clinton was back in office.
Oh yeah, though I mean those, yeah, precisely. What was I gonna say? Although I just want to like say that I'm not gonna try to make this live stream so much about electoral politics of what happened during the 2020 election and whatnot. I just want this to be more about the effects that his presidency is having on the United States and the world as a whole, and also of what it is that he's trying to advocate or push forward for, and why we disapprove or approve of these said things. I mean, we have no actual pro-Biden guys. I mean, Whitesnake says that he's for him, and that actually, let me go over that to sort of reiterate what you were saying there, Whitesnake. You approve of Joe Biden mostly because he's a boring guy who you think is going to get very little done, or if he am I understanding you correct?
The way that I would characterize it, I like to say a doom quote said by Samuel Hayden, except replace demons with the left. The left will often attack one another. They're natural cannibals when left among themselves. And the way that I see it, Joe Biden being elected was leaving the demons or leaving the left to themselves. They're going to eat themselves. They are going to cannibalize. They are going to use Moldbug's word, be thrown out into the cold of winter, and be forgotten like that.
Yeah.
Mm. All right. So you think that as long as he remains in office, that the left is going to continue to eat themselves, and thus that is going to be overall advantageous for the rest of us who are not on the left?
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
Eating themselves when they claim that they want to eat the rich.
Yep.
Right.
Eat the rich, bro. Eat a salad.
So by the way, welcome to the Discord server, Whitesnake. I see that you just joined.
Cool.
The link Whitesnake was talking about, by the way. Okay. I'll pull that up and I'll probably read it sometime later. Don't know if I'll look at it while on stream here, but to sort of go further into the effects of his presidency and whatnot, probably one of the biggest effects, one of the biggest negatives of the Trump administration was the massive spending. At least that's my opinion, anyways. There is like many other bad things that we could say about him, or bad things that he even attempted, for that matter, banning gun rights and throwing people in jail just for a certain type of expression of speech, that being burning the American flag. Well, actually, he did not say that. He did not attempt that so much during his first term. He just said that in a town hall that that's what ought to be done, and was advocating for that for his second term. As anybody watching my response video to Mike Knowles has saw me talk about. But that aside, Biden
really
is even proving himself.
Mike Knowles, and I really hate the Ben Shapiro types of in the world.
Ben Shapiro isn't that bad. Like Ben Shapiro is flawed, but he's not near as bad as Mike Knowles.
Yeah.
Just my opinion. But getting off that though, as I was trying to set up though, I mean, Trump was bad when it comes to spending. Like he's the worst president when it comes to spending before Biden, anyways. Or at least he's neck to neck with both Obama and Bush. And now Biden, he seems to be ramping it up even more. Like I keep on hearing the quote that he plans on spending 10 trillion just within at least the first year of his administration. And thus far, with the first stimulus package, which was like what, 2 to 3 trillion. And he is trying to push for another one, and infrastructure plan as well. Just all this massive spending is one of the most disapproving things. And my 2 cents, if he were on this stream right now, he would probably be able to break it down a whole lot better than I could. But with all the massive spending that is going on, to sort of provide for people so they don't have to work out there in a COVID infested world, even though it really isn't that bad in the grand scheme of things. But that aside, you're obviously going to have to do massive printing in order to pay for all this, which is going to cause massive inflation, especially with how much of a low production economy that we have right now, because we are still not like quite out of the lockdowns. It's almost like a circular, almost like you have all these people who weren't working, so therefore they had to be paid in order to survive, and that's just incentivizing them to not work anymore. And that's because people are looking like supposedly that they can't work when really they can. So therefore, Democrats are like, let's give them more money, and it's kind of working on top of itself. It seems.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what would you two have to say as far as spending goes and whatnot? Or coronavirus. Like, take your pick on what subject you want to go on about.
I don't know enough about this shit.
In all honesty, the stimulus packages were a load of crap, in my opinion. I mean, I did get some of them. And I donated a fair amount of them to various charities that I liked, putting it back in. But the thing about it is, the stimulus packages are crap. We got the people basically got, like, for the first one, $1,200 to very few people. Small businesses practically got nothing, and the big corporations, which are completely in bed with the government, I'm just going to put that out there again, they were the ones getting the most of the money. They were the ones they got most of the stimulus packages, and the people and the small businesses, we barely got any of it. So I mean, the stimulus packages, they're not only from an anarchist or a libertarian perspective a load of crap, because it's giving people, like a UBI sort of, but it's also a load of crap because we got so little of it, and corporations and big business was getting so much of it. So I mean, in all honesty, the stimulus packages were a complete waste and a load of crap. So,
even in a pragmatic sense, I was disapproving of the stimulus checks from the get-go. Like, I did not think that every single person in America needed to be given a stimulus check. Like, if I was to be a pragmatist or utilitarian or whatever, I could see why that people who are forced to be unemployed, because, you have all these state governments that are mandating businesses close their doors and shut down and whatnot. Giving them money, I can understand that enough, but people who are like actually considered essential workers and were still working, like myself, we did not need all these stimulus checks. It just was wasteful spending in the end. But
that was one of my original concerns when this whole thing fucking happened. I was not a libertarian back when this whole thing started. I started becoming a libertarian a bit over a year ago, but basically, even back when I was still, I guess you could say, a sort of lefty liberal apolitical person, I remember thinking like, "Wow, essential worker, how vague."
Right. How vague indeed. Because if you want to like go to the most extreme as far as essential workers go, technically restaurant workers are not essential workers. Like, you literally can just cook for yourself, or even just heat up ramen or cook up an easy meal of just rice and beans at home. You do not really that badly need somebody else to cook your food via a restaurant service and whatnot. So if we were to take essential to its most extreme, then restaurant workers aren't really essential. But JC Armitage, hey DarkCon, was Whitesnake your quote-unquote pro-Biden guest, or was there someone else supposed to be on as well? I was supposed to have another guest on named Doug Stuber. He was supposed to be the actual pro-Biden guy, but it almost seems like that he might have forgot about it, or he's not checking. He's definitely not checking his Twitter often enough. Like, I gone asking in the group chat, everyone still remember the Biden discussion stream today at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I sent that message at 4:21 p.m. and still not seen. It was a little bit disappointing, but you guys were saying, though? I thought you two were like in the middle of a point there, or about to expound on something.
No. I pretty much said it. Plus, I mean, the COVID restrictions are completely unnecessary, just in my opinion, because and I was even going to make a parallel to this in a future video when I was going to the video was going to be called "The Coronavirus Up Until Now," and I was going to make a comparison. Like, have either of you seen Stephen King's The Stand?
No.
No.
I did. I remember some time ago, I think it was, no, not last week, but some time ago, seeing Stephen King's The Stand on TV, the series or something, and there was something about a virus or something.
Yeah.
When I heard, just for a little quick note, when I originally saw that, I thought my mind immediately jumped to thinking about JoJo's The Stand.
Yeah, but basically, the series, they actually just remade it in 2020 as a regular contemporary series, but it was released in 1994 as a Stephen King miniseries, and it was about a virus that wiped out like 96.4% of the world's population or something. No, it was even more than that. But I was going to make a parallel to it. It was, for some reason, they called the virus the Captain Trips virus or something like that. Don't know why. That was just some Stephen King weirdness. Anyway, I was going to compare the coronavirus as a reverse version of the Captain Trips virus. Instead of it having like a 99.6% infection and death rate, it has a 99.6% immunity rate, or non-infection rate, basically.
Right, non-fatality rate.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the point I was going to make with that. And honestly, for a virus like that, I think that's even less than the flu. I think that's even less than the flu kills, just about.
if I recall correctly, when people were people compared the flu to the COVID, and they mixed up the stats, I guess. Fuck.
Oh,
I'm going to link so many fucking things in the chat. It's not funny.
All right, I guess I'll start linking some of these in the description box. Right. Also, Rusty the Fox Coon, thanks for joining the live stream. And he also says, in only 100 days, Biden got the American dream wrong. It's not automatic car or manual gun. It's a manual car, automatic gun. Much more fun and much more American.
I love that. That actually does sound like that does sound like one of those senile mistakes that Joe Biden would make.
Yep.
I mean, too bad I don't know how to drive manual, or at least I'm not used to it anyways. Automatic transmission is my go-to.
Poor kids are just as intelligent and bright as
white kids.
All right,
DarkCon. I just posted a Vimeo video in our DMs. It's a speech delivered by Nick Hudson, talking about coronavirus and lockdowns.
All right. I will go ahead and link this down below, and it also gives a nice little preview, just like YouTube videos as well. It doesn't have like a dislike rating of Vimeo videos, apparently. No. Just me personally, I don't know why. I just prefer that there be a dislike rating as well as a like rating of sorts. But yeah, I guess to sort of get onto other topics, unless there is something else that you guys want to mention as well about topics that were already covered.
I can't think of anything else.
Me neither.
Okay, so I guess
this would be a good idea if I had done it. Basically, I had this idea of starting my own kind of like show, like Nate the Voluntarist, but I would have sort of like a box with a bunch of teeny pieces of paper cut into it, and the pieces of paper would have like little topics on it, and I did a little raffle for topics to talk about. That would be really handy in times like this.
All right. Yeah. All right, and save. All right, so thing that I was about to mention was immigration. What do you guys know as far as immigration under Biden goes, and what's the commentary that you guys have to make about it?
I do not know enough about America to talk about this shit, but you guys can inform me about it.
Night Shift.
I don't think he's changed much since he took over for Trump on the whole border issue. In fact, have we even stopped building the wall?
You know, that's something that even Ben Shapiro mentioned in his 100-day coverage of the Biden administration. Is that Biden, like he wasn't saying necessarily on whether it's a good or bad thing. Ben was anyways. It's just he was mentioning as to how he was going against his own constituents by essentially continuing construction of the wall. But yeah, I mean, aside from one specific thing that I will get into here in a little bit, I don't think that there is like overall anything that he has really done to change our immigration policy. It's just that since you got the bad orange man who hates brown people, air quotes on that statement anyways, just because he's out of office, and you got this nice really old uncle who's like governing the country who has more respect for minorities, supposedly anyways. Therefore, that is kind of incentivizing more people to want to jump the border into the United States. That's my only guess as to what is happening. It's not an actual policy change that is making it more open for people to get inside. But there is one thing, and I do not know if you were like around for that episode of Strike Force Night Shift, but apparently he signed an executive order that rescinded an executive order. Well, I do not know if it was technically an executive order or whatever, but Trump enacted a sort of program that was within our immigration policy that was meant to crack down on child traffickers, and Biden nixed that with an executive order.
Huh.
He terminated that
Yeah.
to stop child traffickers.
Yeah, that sounds a little fishy to me. But then again, we're talking about creepy Uncle Joe, the girl and boy sniffer. So
if Techno was in the live chat, he'd be all like, "Biden is sus." No, because he loves those amongst us memes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I'm not going to make any serious allegations or accusations myself about Trump. I'm just mentioning the facts of what I read here, and my opinion is just in general highly disapproving. Like, if I know that all anarchists and whatnot like to talk about as to how that they are against border restrictions, border enforcements, and whatnot, but if there was like any function that there ought to be within immigration, it is of stopping the most heinous of criminals, that being child traffickers.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and here's the thing: a lot of those guys, along with the coyotes, if you know who they are, the coyotes that smuggle people across the border and sometimes take kids as payment. Again, these things are at fault from the state if you circle it back around, because of the tight border restrictions, because of everything that's going on that the state is doing. People have to turn to these alternative ways to get through the borders. They have to find alternative ways to sneak through the border. And they turn to these people that become child traffickers. They are, like the coyotes and other people that promise you, we'll get you across the border, but give us one of your kids, or give us some children in the form of payment. And so ultimately it does swing back around to being the state's fault in the form of tightened border security. So, I mean...
So basically, your average Juan would act all ignorantly and desperately to try to get across the border by going to one of these coyotes to take one of their kids into the United States?
No, I mean, taking kids as payment for, the sex traffic, the sex traffic industry or whatever there is going on there. I mean, it's like... That's kind of what they do. That's basically, how they accept some payment, or in payment forms is basically they're like, we'll pay us a kid for the sex trafficking, and we'll get you through the borders.
Wait. I'm trying to still understand this. So an illegal immigrant would not just give a kid to the coyotes, as we are calling them for right now, to get them into the United States. He would basically be selling his kid in order for passage into the United States?
Yes, that is how it goes sometimes. And that is the price that some of these guys actually will incite is, you have to give us one of your kids, or you have to give us like a kid for the sex trafficking rings if you want us to get you into the country. And so, I mean, again, remember where this comes from. It is ultimately the government clamping down on immigration is why these people have to turn to, the coyotes and to these potential, child traffickers, to get them through, more stealthily and undetected. So the thing about it is, I'm very much for the my 2 cents idea of how the borders should be run. Basically, we should have private borders, where first we need to either get rid of the government or minimalize the shit out of it, get rid of the giant welfare state that we have, and then with that, allow people to come into our country as long as they can, as long as they can make money, as long as they can, make money for themselves, make money for us, and as long as they're not living off of welfare or government benefits, and as long as they can't affect the government in any way.
Yeah.
Well, if there is no welfare state in general, you wouldn't have to put in a government requirement to say you have to work in order to stay in this country. They'd just be naturally incentivized. Like, you're coming into this country, there is no safety net for you. You better work or else starve, just by your own natural circumstance of being a human being with hunger and whatnot. But communists say that work or starve is unethical.
And I kind of did misspeak, because it can also be open to people that are rich enough to come here. So like if you have rich immigrants coming from any direction, that actually are wealthy enough to kind of live here without working, that's fine as well. As long as you are not living off of public assistance, as long as you're not lobbying or what would it be, influencing the government to more your ways. As long as you're not taking other people's freedoms away, and as long as you're not taxing them into the ground to support you, then yeah, it's basically kind of what I'm advocating. It's not only that you have to come over here and work, but it's also, if you're rich enough to come over here and then do nothing, that's great, as long as you're paying for, as long as you're paying for it.
All right. So I just wonder, like, that sounded like a very fucked up story that you had mentioned a little bit earlier about how a bunch of illegal immigrants who are so desperate to get into the United States that they would so psychotically and selfishly sell off their own kid to these Mexican thugs, basically the coyotes, just so that they could like get transported into the United States illegally.
Basically.
Like, send us a link on that.
No, I will find it. I can't. I'm on my phone right now, and I can't really get out of Stream. I could if I was in Zoom, but I can't really get out of SteamYard. But I will definitely send you a link on that later, because I know that that's what they do, and it's really fucked up. It's really fucked up what they do, and yeah, that does happen quite a bit.
Just by the sounds of it, yeah. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
I think I am gonna go ahead and send this link into other group chats.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, I sort of have a friend who a while ago used to send me photographs of basically drug effects of Mexican drug cartels or something. He used to it as sort of like trolling or spam, guess you could say that. Yeah, if I recall correctly, they were really fucking disturbing.
Mm-hmm. And that's largely who the coyotes and these other individuals sell the kids to, is they sell them to the Mexican drug cartels, who in turn, they give them money so that they can put these kids on the child sex trafficking ring they've got down there. And that's largely
the really fucking scary thing. The scary thing about that is the pictures, if I can recall them correctly, they looked a lot like other viewing in, I think it was biology class, but basically, are you familiar with, I forget what it's called, but it's basically like a flesh-eating virus or something. The pictures that he sent me of the drugs or something, the effects like that stuff on the human body were
are we
very
talking
similar
Ebola
to
or leprosy.
Necrotizing fasciitis.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I've heard of that. I know that it is a skin-eating virus. Well, what about it?
What I'm trying to get at is that I don't exactly remember. It was around 2 years ago when the person was kind of trolling me or something. I asked him to stop, and he did. But when he was sort of like spamming my DMs with these photographs, i.e., photographs of basically, when people in like health class show you pictures of people like this is your body on heroin, this is your body on drugs, sort of like that.
Yeah.
Basically, this person showed me those pictures like that of, I don't forget what, but something about Mexican drug cartels, and this is your body on insert drug here. I forget, but the pictures I saw of those effects were very similar to photos I've seen of what happens to your body on necrotizing fasciitis.
I think he might have been trolling you with that. I don't know of any drug that will actually eat away at your body. Meth comes pretty close to that, but meth really, I mean, it fucks up your body, yes, but it doesn't really eat away at it, more or less.
Yeah, could have been the trolling. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need to check
By the
back
way,
in with the person.
I just want to say very quickly to JC Armitage, in the Discord server, that link goes to either Strikeforce News or Citation Needed as far as which channels to put it in. Not the general channel, but excuse me about that. Yeah, I mean, from what I've actually researched as far as how much worse it is got in comparison to last tenure and current tenure, Trump versus Biden. Excuse me. According to Washington Examiner, cases of child trafficking have increased by at least 1,000. Or here, I'll have to actually pull up the article. Which 1,000 is not a whole lot, I guess, as far as total populations go, anyways. But in terms of human trafficking, with how much of a minority case crime that it is, anyways, it's quite the increase.
Yeah.
Doug Stuber has just subscribed to me. I wonder if that means that finally, finally got his attention and he'll be joining soon or something.
Okay, cool.
But anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was trying to find it. It was like something of a 50% increase or something around that.
Whoa.
As far as cases of child trafficking going from the south to up to here within the southern border.
Allow me to say something. Allow me to say something very, very Hoppian. I think that child traffickers should be thrown from helicopters.
Here's the thing, and I said this largely ironically, but part of me would like to do this. When the anarchists like myself have achieved Ancapistan, we want to start at least I want to start private human hunting preserves where we round up pedophiles and have them be the hunted on these reserves.
Right.
What I want to do with them is to hang them, but not in the tie noose around their neck and drop it. I want to have like a very large chain with a fishing hook and have the fishing hook digging into their throat and throw them off a balcony or something like that.
If you were to throw them high enough, that would just straight up decapitate them with that line being so thin and whatnot.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, I mean wait, what line being so thin?
A fishing line or some other very thin.
No, I mean no, I said that as in comparison. I mean the hook in this analogy would be very, very big, like about the size of your hand, so to speak, with a chain, not a fishing line.
Huh. By the way, hello, Doug Stuber in the live chat. I sent the link for this hangout in the Twitter group chat. If you were one to still join this call, sort of spice things up a little bit. What were you about to say, Night Shift?
I wanted to respond to Tinseltown Queen's to her comment. How do people become traffickers, cartels, etc.? How do people get involved with criminals like that without getting killed? That is something I've wondered. The way you become a drug cartel is they usually do start small. If they don't get bumped off early, that means that they're being really brutal to their competition, and they're being really brutal to people that would be their competition. So yeah, a lot of these drug cartels and a lot of the people they hire are very brutal, murderous people, and they branch out from drugs to sex trafficking, and usually that goes into child sex trafficking, getting them started early, I guess. And the people that also sell to them, sometimes they do get killed, but they usually do their business from a distance if they don't trust the person that they're doing business with, or sometimes they will trust the person they're doing business with, and they're just as brutal an asshole as anyone else. So that's kind of how it works. It's a lot of brutality, a lot of murderousness, and you're dealing with real bottom of the bin shit people that really have squandered the life they've been given, and it's complete. I mean, the thing about it is, again, I could rant about this for hours. It really is the fault of the state. It really is the fault of governments for giving these people so much power. Because like with all of the, the prohibitionary measures, the prohibition laws that we have, it's really the reason why these drug cartels are where they are now. And it's really why organized criminals in this country are where they are now. So it all comes back around to the state and the government's existence. And really it's mostly just because of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I just remembered of which episode of Strike Force it was that I had looked up those sources. Big Doug still hasn't joined here yet. I don't know. It's either way. I mean, we're having a good chat here nonetheless. Whether or not we have an actual pro Biden guy to join on. Thanks for the drug cartels, Biden, says Nate the Voluntarist. Nice for you to pop up in the live chat, Nate.
Hey,
how you doing?
Hey, Nate's Nate. There. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, bro.
Yep. So ultimately, as far as immigration goes, it seems that not a whole lot has changed, at least from what I've seen, aside from the fact that he is like acting very little. He's acting very little in either way, either in trying to do anything to help out the people at the border or being trafficked across the border in some cases, or he ended up like getting rid of one thing that was done by Trump, which really should not have been gotten rid of because Orange Man bad, apparently.
Yeah. And
speaking of Orange Man bad, there's another executive order that I had gone researching into, of where that he redone like the electric power grid. The exact details I forget of how to explain them precisely, but basically it weakens our electric power grid to where that it is just open enough for hacking from, say, China, for example. It is the most layman's way that I can explain it anyways. There is no plan. There's no plan to try and reinforce that electric power grid in his own administration's way, as opposed to Trump's way of doing it, until 100 days after he had signed that executive order undoing Trump's executive order. So yeah, talk about Orange Man bad. So there's another example right there. And not trying to exactly sell a big old doom and gloom like I think it's going to definitely happen, that we're going to have a massive blackouts throughout the United States and we're going to go into a countrywide dark age or something. But it's just, why would he do that? And it just sets the bad precedent nonetheless.
Right.
Democrat leaks border facility inside pics. I'm trying to pull up some of these links here. There was another subject that I always want to bring up. Speaking of executive order, since we're kind of on this, there was one executive order that he had signed which puts back in place the effort of the United States to fund for other countries' abortions. It might not be a whole lot of money, but still, that was something that was implemented, I think.
I'm going to say this as what I would call a very radical and militant atheist. Abortion is murder. Just going to say that flat out. Abortion is murder.
Wait, we're paying for other countries' abortions?
Other countries.
I've never heard of that. I didn't know. Wow.
I would have to give you the link from where that I actually read that, but it wasn't from some right-wing conspiracy nutjob website. It was from CBS, I think it was. Mainstream news outlet that would be handling a Democratic president with kitty gloves. And even they were admitting that this is something that Biden had signed back into law, into doing,
Wow.
I mean, even pro-choicers can get behind, yeah, that's pretty effed up. Please stop. Get some help.
Yeah. Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah.
Here we go. There's the two links for where I had read it, and there was like another source about the issue of immigration that I've been meaning for a while to read up on, but I just haven't found myself the time yet to go back on reading some articles that I been keep on putting off and whatnot. If Doug or no one else joins on before the 1.5 hour mark, I might just end up ending this live stream.
Well, since we ran out of topics, I just noticed something that I was kind of unintentional, but yeah.
But
My name and my avatar are basically make me a walking boomer rock or something like that.
a walking what?
Walking boomer rock reference or something. Like my display name, Whitesnake, is. Are you familiar with the band of the same name?
Oh,
Here
absolutely.
I go again on my own.
Love it.
And also, my avatar is Pink Floyd's "Dark Side of the Moon" album cover.
Dude, don't change either. Okay, I'll admit it. I was born in the 1980s, and I love both Whitesnake and Pink Floyd. But
yeah, I was.
So that might be the 80s boomer in me speaking, but don't get rid of either. Those are awesome.
I wasn't going to. I was born in. I was born in. I'm not going to give it away because there are strangers watching this, but basically, I was born after 9/11, so I'm very young. I'm still in high school right now.
Oh. Okay.
But basically, my family, especially my two older sisters, they were both born in the 80s. Both me and my brother were both born after 9/11. But basically, my two older sisters are very big boomer rock fans, and a lot of that rubbed off on me when I was sort of growing up. My parents too. They were sort of like I wouldn't say traditionalist because they don't necessarily hold a lot of traditional values, like they're pro gay marriage, pro abortion, a lot of that stuff, but basically they sort of raised me in sort of like a old fashioned way, if you will.
So essentially, they're trying to encourage you to take a sort of nuclear family approach to raising your family. If you're in all eventuality to get a family.
Yeah. Hopefully, the best way I could describe it is that they were teaching me things like be mature. They unlike a lot of other kids, I didn't get my first cell phone until very, very relatively late in my life. They sort of were very strict with me, so to speak. Over and all, I sort of really appreciate that kind of upbringing because I'm gonna be honest with you. The way that I observe other kids in my school behave, other kids around my age demographic, they're jerks. I'm just gonna say it right now. A lot of kids my age are jerks. So I'm very glad I was raised the way my parents raised me.
Yeah.
By the way, Doug Stuber, you're still in the live chat, I noticed. Like, if you're one on this live stream, again, I'll remind you that the Hangout link is in the Twitter group chat that you're in. But he says right here in the live chat, Biden's biggest error was the insanity of saying only, quote unquote, vaccinated people can go maskless. This will spread COVID, which is what Gates and Fauci want. Okay, my first question is, that's the first half of your statement right there. Are you saying that you are that at this point with the vaccination process that you're okay with pretty much most, if not all, people going maskless, and you think that more people than what Biden are saying can go maskless, Or are you implying that you think that everybody should stay maskless, masked, including vaccinated people? And second part of your chat comment right there, this will spread COVID, which is what Gates and Fauci want. Like, that almost seems to be, like, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that, but that almost seems to be more like a right-wing conspiracy sort of belief right there. That Gates and Fauci, they might be putting on the theatrics that they want ultimately coronavirus to be gotten rid of, but really they just want it to spread so as to make political or monetary gain off of it, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I wonder where you're getting that idea.
Personally, I do not believe that. I'm very resistant to conspiracy theories, but as time kind of goes on, it's getting very hard for me not to think that way.
Yeah.
But Gates has had Fauci on his board for over 20 years. Doug, you're like live arguing in the live chat. I think this would be a whole lot healthier and a whole lot more effective if you were to join this call. Just saying, sir. Yeah. But Gates has had Fauci on his board for over 20 years. I'm not necessarily arguing or disagreeing. I'm just wondering of where that you got that idea. Because, again, the second part of this live chat comment from you almost seems to be a sort of a right-wing conspiracy theorist belief. I'm a traditionalist as well. I'm a fusionist, the best kind of traditionalist, as Jay Will series. All right,
yeah, I would sort of characterize myself as sort of like I don't know, like before the stream began, I said that I was very much influenced by Ayn Rand. The way that I see it is that I kind of take egoism, and at least the way I interpret it, I kind of loops right back into traditionalism, because that's the way that I sort of, at least to me, sort of a kind of, I wouldn't say traditionalist because, well, that's not necessarily the right word. I do not believe in following tradition for tradition's sake. What I mean is sort of like moderation and respect, like that.
Okay. I understand. He proposes $1.9 trillion for infrastructure to great GOP consternation, yet no GOP legislator objected when Trump sought $13 million for infrastructure. Are you sure you did not mean to say 1.3 trillion? Because you're missing the period right there, if that's what you meant. I mean, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that. I mean, GOP is kind of hypocritical, or a lot of the GOP anyways, except for maybe a very few exceptions. A lot of the GOP are kind of hypocritical when it comes to spending. Like when it comes to Bush, we're going to ignore that. When it comes to Biden, we're going to complain about that to high heavens. Trump, ignore it. Biden, now we're going to address it again.
Yeah, whenever
either way, I'm still against these massive infrastructure.
You want to know something?
Plans, or these massive multi-trillion-dollar spending plans in general. What are you saying, Whitesnake?
If you hear a conservative talking about so-called cutting the budget, but they're not talking about military spending, then they're not taking that seriously at all. Because the military
seems to be go on.
Because military spending is right now the overwhelming chunk of the federal budget. Last I checked.
I do agree that there is like some oversimplification in regards of military spending. I mean, if I was to be more in touch with my, I guess you could say, conservative roots, I would say that we need to like redirect some of the wasteful spending into reinvigorating some of the more inefficient parts of our military as far as military spending goes. Doug Stuber says, I haven't been able to get in the stream. Why would that be, Doug? Is it because that you don't have an account with StreamYard? I mean, it's easy enough to get an account for. Yeah,
I did not have one before this stream happened. I legit set it up like 5 minutes beforehand. It's not that hard.
Yeah, well, why is it precisely? Not yet on masks, correct. All should wear masks. Well, I'm going to kindly refuse, for the most part anyways, Doug. I'm going to wear masks at this point only when a private property owner asks it of me, or else kick me out. That's about it. Aside from that, for the most part, no. I mean, especially when I'm outdoors. But Gates says head Fauci. Oh, wait, I already read that one. Fauci gave Trump all his COVID spreading ideas. I wonder of where that you're getting that idea, because I actually read your one little blog post that you had linked in the Twitter group chat, Doug. And I'm just wondering, where are you getting this idea that Fauci and Trump are both in agreement and in cahoots with one another? Like Fauci, as far as I'm concerned, at least paid lip service to not be in full disagreement with Trump. But as far as I know, they still had their slight disagreements. Fauci wanted the nation to go more pro-lockdown-ish. Trump was all like, he was at least paying lip service to lockdown, which is still a bad thing in my eyes.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, before
he was kind of leaning more towards anti-lockdown as compared to Fauci.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, sometime toward the beginning of this whole ordeal, basically a lot of people on the, at least from what I perceived at the time, far right, were basically saying like, the virus is going to be deadly, it's the end of the world, and a lot of the mainstream were saying like, oh no, it's not going to be like, you're overplaying it, or blah blah blah. But I forget. No, I don't forget. I never found out or never knew. But basically, sometime after that, the position switched.
The positions switched on what between the Republican and Democratic parties?
The threat of the virus. Originally, it was the people on the far right who were saying like, this is deadly, where it's going to kill us all, or something like that, and then it swapped to that being the Democrat position. I may be misremembering. It was like an eternity ago, so...
Well, I do not know exactly what the flow of it was. I mean, I do remember that Trump was wanting to push for the idea that we shut down travel to China and whatnot. But as far as it's a big fat concern, the most that I can remember is that everybody seemed almost apathetic towards the idea of enforcing lockdowns on the nation in order to fight the virus. I mean, even I at one point was almost, but not quite tempted to shelve my libertarian principles temporarily so as to fight off COVID-19. But with further thought, I was all like, this government force is a bad precedent. I don't want it, definitely. And even the virus itself, is it really that bad in the grand scheme of things? Like, it's bad. I'm not going to say that it's an outright hoax. It's bad to it.
Yeah, I was a bit different.
To at least a little extent. But I don't think it's so bad to where that we have to shut down mass swaths of the economy.
Right.
You were saying Whitesnake?
Yeah, toward the beginning of the thing, basically toward the beginning was basically when I started becoming a sort of libertarian, quote unquote, and I say quote unquote because I sort of, like I said at the beginning, like I said before the sort of stream began, I started out as an objectivist, which many people know that objectivists do not consider themselves libertarians. But basically, I was just getting started in those principles, and when the whole lockdown thing came, I was very staunchly anti-lockdown, but I was also saying, like, you know, it would be a smart idea for everyone to stay home and do all these things, but only until we figure out what's going on and what to do. Now that we know what's going on and what to do, like, that only strengthens my position.
Mm-hmm. I've always opposed lockdowns and insane mandates since day one. Well, good for you, JC. I'm telling you, you're true red pill right there. I just had to get eased I had to take the red pill before I was red pilled as far as coronavirus goes. Sort of address the chat a little bit more. Trump's not smart enough to cook up the myriad ways he messed up the COVID response. I give Team Gates, Fauci all the credit, says Doug Stuber. Well, maybe. And we also have to keep in mind that a lot of the lockdown response, like, I don't think that Trump handled it perfectly at all in the way that he could have. I think he should have like grown an actual spine and vetoed the original stimulus package, at least as it originally stood anyways. All the bailouts and the stimulus checks being given to even the essential workers who were like still working and able to feed themselves and whatnot. But even just overall, I don't think you should have given the stimulus checks. As far as what the lockdowns, what businesses were shut down and whatnot, that's more you can credit that more towards the governors actually following the directions of Fauci and the CDC as far as response of against the virus goes. I find this kind of odd that we are like we had got on the issue of Trump and not just so much focusing on Biden as much. But anyway,
Right.
Well, of the two, he is definitely the most interesting.
Biden has reached across the aisle again to go with the unmasking of America, fifth wave ahead. Well, if people are like vaccinated, shouldn't that be resistance against the coronavirus is my biggest question. I mean, otherwise, if we still have to remain masked even if we're vaccinated, well, then the vaccine is utterly worthless, about as worthless as just, I don't know, an injection of an injection of, well, okay, I was about to say an injection of water, but I do not know what the actual science would be if you were to like inject clean, pure water into your blood system. But you get my drift, though. It's utterly useless. It's about as useless as air at that point, as far as I'm concerned, if it doesn't work so much so that people wouldn't be required to consistently mask. Going along with the lockdown people's logic. When it first broke out, lockdown was an emergency protocol. It's a long-term issue now, not an emergency. Precisely, Rusty. I mean, I'm at this point against lockdowns just entirely, at least for a virus that is this low as far as its death rate goes and whatnot. But I like a 99% survival rate and only 1% fatality rate with this coronavirus. I don't find that worth shutting down vast swaths of the economy.
Yeah, one thing, what I believe is keeping this thing still going is primarily the fact that a lot of this stuff was basically a lie. Like, I don't think it would be very beneficial to the Democrat Party for them to basically come out and say, hey, you know what, all this stuff we were doing for the past year, yeah, it was all bullshit and we ruined your lives for nothing. Like, I don't think it would be very strategic for them to come out and say that. So that's primarily why I think that they're trying to keep this under wraps, I think.
We need 95% vaccinated to achieve herd immunity, says Doug Stuber. Well, whatever the case be, but that's not exactly what I'm addressing right now. I mean, I think that if you're already vaccinated, you don't really need the virus because you're immune and will not contain the virus. COVID will spread among the unvaccinated. Now, watch. I mean, I did not say anything otherwise, so I do not know what you're responding to, Doug. Many scientists believe COVID is here forever now. Do we believe that? I mean, I'm pretty much of the same opinion that Matt Walsh was like many months ago. Like when we were coming out of the heightened heat of the lockdowns, like around late May, early June, he had a program of where he was all like, COVID is here to stay. It's something that we must admit to. And the only thing that we should be worried about is how do we move forward at this point. I say that we should just reopen and whatnot. I'm not exactly citing Matt Walsh as like some kind of source of authority, but essentially, yeah, I do agree that COVID is might pretty much be here forever. It's just a matter of what do we do about it going forward, in the same way of the typical influenza and other diseases that have a reoccurring theme with them of coming about once or twice a year. Were you about to say something, Night Shift?
No. I'm just taking in this dialogue.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to. It really would be helpful, Doug, if you would like try again and joining the StreamYard call here. Come on, could you please try again? This is tedious. Not gonna lie. Maybe I should like try to use an alternative calling program as opposed to StreamYard. Excuse me. Use Zoom or some other program like that. I know that Nate the Voluntarist, he uses Zoom. At least I think that's the program, anyways. He doesn't use Hangouts or StreamYard hardly anymore. Was there anything that you? Well, I know that I had asked this question like 2 or 3 times earlier within this live stream, but was there anything that you two wanted to say that you particularly dislike or find funny or whatever about Biden?
I think I already said everything.
So have I.
Okay. We'll give it a few minutes. If Doug does not join on the does not actually join on the call here, then I might just go ahead and end it, call it quits. Because I find this idea of debating against the live chat to be kind of tedious, especially when the live chat comments only come so fast. Due to the overload of misinformation on COVID-19, I give anything about the virus of which we do not speak little to no credit, says Tinseltown Queen.
Good idea. Very good way to go right there.
And one of my other things is that, honestly, I'm just slightly skeptical about the numbers in regards of the case rate, the contagious rate of coronavirus. Like, there was an article that I had read like at some point last year of where that the CDC came out and admitted that they were mixing up antibodies tests with actual coronavirus contagion cases. Like the antibodies, that's where people have like just mere slight traces of it or even had an immunity to it. And they were like counting those in with the cases of people catching coronavirus and whatnot. It's like it was just ridiculous sloppiness. And so I just wonder if those numbers have been corrected or not. And what was I about to say? And if somebody who ends up being mixed up in that stat, and they really should not, if they are the person who ends up dying because, I don't know, they got drunk or hung themselves of suicide or something like that, and people are just counting that as coronavirus because they found it in their system or whatever.
Right.
Not that I'm going to say that en masse that is happening like most of the time or whatever. People are caught with coronavirus, so therefore, because they died in a car accident, they are counted as a coronavirus death. I'm not going to say that's happening en masse, but it's just I think it would be happening enough to where that it makes the numbers slightly inaccurate. That's not to say that it's an outright hoax for all those who want to like say you're a COVID denier. No, I'm not a COVID denier. I'm a COVID skeptic is what I am.
COVID denier would imply that we don't believe the virus exists.
Precisely.
It clearly does.
Yeah.
Try to tell that to people like Progressive Voice.
Does he deny its existence?
No. He does not deny its existence. I was saying say that to say it to him and what Whitesnake said. That piece of logic that he espoused. No, so Progressive Voice. He believes that if you are even somewhat skeptical of COVID-19, you are an outright COVID denier.
Okay, all right, I get what you're saying.
And I'm just so like actually, let me pull it up for you if I can. So that we can watch this. It's pretty funny. Or it's
Oh,
kind of
God.
funny. I won't say it's pretty funny. Okay, this is slightly amusing. Let me try to get things organized. I just wanted to share something funny that just randomly showed up in my like how the
Recommended feed.
fuck did that come into my recommendations right there?
Whoa, that. What the hell?
Wait, what? Are you looking?
Maxine. Holy shit.
Yeah, that thing right there. It's all like, damn, look at them titties. Anyway, removing that.
If you think that's bad, for some reason in my recommended feed, I get Vosh.
Oh shit. Are you watching a whole lot of PSA Sitch and Adam Frienddead reviews of his debates and whatnot?
Well, I saw some stuff from them a while ago, but I think it has something to do with the fact that I'm watching a lot of Actual Justice Warrior or something. That guy.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
Never mind then. I mean, I haven't got a whole lot of recommendations myself of Vosh specifically, even though that I watch a lot of reviews that Adam and Sitch they do on debates and whatnot that Vosh does, which are pretty awesome, not gonna lie. Anyway, this is just what I wanted to show very quickly.
India was the country to watch, as millions of their workers were stranded along the railroad, no means of social distancing. India has just 169 deaths, reported its first case in January. But it's 10 times more deadly than the flu, bro. So this is actually one of the craziest tweets I've ever read, because what this is doing is just literally full-on COVID denialism.
Wait for it.
If you're making an argument that massive gatherings of this size are okay in terms of COVID, that's insane. I mean, this is probably the craziest thing. This is probably off the charts, because I would say that even most people who are deniers of coronavirus would probably agree, like, hey, yeah, this isn't a good situation or an okay situation when there's COVID going on.
And my immediate response is, well, then they are not COVID deniers, asshole.
Yeah. Something's amiss there.
Yeah, he's just a fucking airhead and a simpleton, not gonna lie. Liberty or Death Inc. in the live chat. Nice for you to join the live chat. Welcome to the program. And hello, AircraftSparky. Real life Vosh fanboy there. Well, Whitesnake is not a Vosh fanboy or anything like that.
No, I think he's
and hello,
disgusting. I think he's degenerate. I think he's an overall stain on the human population.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Well, we're about to reach the 1 hour and 30-minute mark, and since nobody else has joined, we're gonna look to wrap up this stream very quickly. Oh,
yeah.
That's.
Hold on, before we end the stream, I just want to quickly plug something here. Could you plug my Twitter account or something?
Sure. I don't know if I have. Wait, you're under T. Douglas Macintosh on Twitter, right?
No, I changed it.
Okay. Mind send me a link to it on DMs or something?
That would. Okay. Discord.
I'm actually going to read this out loud. AircraftSparky says, I deny everything. I deny your white privilege. I deny black oppression. I deny the racial inequality of penis size. I also deny those Walmart hater shades. He's
glorious.
talking about my sunglasses. I do not deny your degeneracy. You just published it. Yes, because I like big asses. Or big boobs. That, as I was showing a little bit earlier. Heck, I would join, says AircraftSparky. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll let AircraftSparky join on very quickly just to give this live stream a little bit more entertainment and whatnot. I mean, and plus it's been a while since I let him on, and he's been like generous enough to have let me on his live streams for a couple times recently. So, Sparky, if you're still in there, the link is for you on Discord right now. Okay, Osmo Ordo. All right.
It's a pen name I came up with because I intend to start doing stuff like writing blogs or something, and I do not want, at least, I do not want to get my name out. I want a complete and utter separation from stuff like what I'm doing right now in my personal life. You get what I'm saying?
Right. And honestly, you know what? Since Doug Stuber is almost looking, you know, actually no, I'll keep it up for a little bit longer. Doug Stuber's links down in the description box. But if he doesn't join during the time that AircraftSparky is here and decide to stay on air for like a few minutes longer, then is when that I'm going to delete his stuff out of the description box. But Doug, if you're still listening, although I kind of doubt it because it's been a while since he dropped a live chat comment, but I'll have to like organize, I guess, a one-on-one live stream with Doug Stuber to sort of make up for the fact that he could not join this live stream. But Zafad Sparky Brox, how you doing?
What's up, man? How you doing today?
Pretty good.
How's it going?
Just bitching, whining, and complaining about Biden is what we're doing here.
Oh, why bitch, man? Look, everything's going exactly as planned. Look, the destruction of America is amazing. It is the best ever. It is paving the way for Ron DeSantis 2024.
Well, I guess so. I mean, it definitely would not be out of my voting considerations.
Did you happen to hear that Nancy Pelosi is asking for $300 million to have 200 military personnel stationed at the Capitol forever?
I did not hear that one. But by the way, Metal Doomer says, I like a cute face and a nice pair of tits. I will say that I like a nice face. And if she doesn't have a nice face, no matter how curvy her body is, it ain't going to amount to hardly anything.
Apply enough mayonnaise and it's all cute.
Are you sure that's mayonnaise?
It's old man's, eh? No, seriously. Look, I find it amazing that the Democrats are so scared of everything. Look, they don't want to take off their masks because they don't want to be confused for Republicans or conservatives. Furthermore, they want to put active duty personnel on American soil in the U.S. Capitol, permanently stationed there to protect them. Yet they won't call people back from overseas from wars we have no business to be in to secure our southern border, to actually defend the sovereignty of this nation from the actual invasion that's going on.
Right, the child traffickers and whatnot.
But let's be honest, it's not Biden that's actually running everything. It is Nancy Pelosi and that feckless Kamala whatever.
Kamala Harris, yeah.
No, don't even say its name. You say it enough, it might just show up.
Camel Toe Harris.
And then she's going to stick her hand right up your asshole, just like she's been doing to Biden. You ever notice she's always in the background? It's because he's sitting on her lap.
Dude, this is how like urban legends get started. It's like if you say Kamala Harris 3 times in the mirror, she comes through and sticks her hand up your ass.
You notice she's always wearing a dress. That way the knee pads don't show.
Oh God, there's actually Kamala Harris.
Don't say it.
Foot fetish porn. There's actually foot fetish porn of her.
Okay,
out there.
I thought you were about to.
I bet she has the best forms.
That's pretty bad, but I thought you were about to say something a whole lot worse.
Oh no.
But yeah, I'm just gonna say like a couple of things. First off, about the whole unmasking thing. Did you like see Ben Shapiro's most recent episode of where that he's all like, our idiot leaders are finally saying that we can take off the mask, and it just has a picture of Kamala Harris. She's like taking off a mask and thus reveals a robot face.
Well, I mean, look, she is the only person cringy enough to actually go on national TV and have the driest, whitest makeout session with her hubby with a mask on.
Oh.
No.
I mean, seriously.
Apparently,
So you kinda
there's
got it?
a Twitter purge going on right now.
Oh, well, welcome to my world. I was purged years ago for doing a cookie joke.
Right, so,
What the hell?
so what you're saying is that you kind of doubt that Kamala Harris is actually saying, okay, you can take off the masks now?
No, it really isn't that. Look, the Democrats don't want to get rid of the mask because it is actually their way to virtue signal. It is the mask is nothing more than the yellow Star of David in 1939's frickin' Germany. Okay, it is a way to show who is compliant, who is malleable. It is a way to identify. And the left has actually made it the ultimate virtue signal. David Hogg came out today on Twitter, and I'm not on Twitter, so I can't fully verify because I made a cookie joke a couple of years ago. Evidently saying, look at this oatmeal raisin looking bitch is what gets you yeeted off of YouTube. It's very simple. But David Hogg came out today, said that he will accept the inconvenience of wearing a mask because he does not want to be confused as a conservative. David Hogg, you look like a fucking fan fuckboy. No one would ever consider you to be a conservative with those spindly little fucking spaghetti arms and that faggoty ass goddamn hair you got going on.
Well, no. Have you seen that picture of
hold
him
on, what's
as
your
a
name?
Girl?
Well,
His name is AircraftSparky is his actual name. He just has
I just want to tell you that you remind me of some guy I'm really good friends with. His
I'm
name
so
is
sorry
something
for that
like
friend. I mean,
his name is or DarkCon and Night Shift might know him, but his sort of pseudonym is Derpy Redneck.
Oh, yeah, except Derpy Redneck and AircraftSparky would have massively different beliefs. Like, let's not even start the whole Israel debate between these two.
Oh, fuck.
I've heard of them, but I've never watched his
debate?
videos.
There is no debate, and the reason why is because I'm a nationalist, and I believe that every nation has a right to exist and to defend themselves, and also because they are God's chosen people, supposedly. And I want Israel to exist because I am a Zionist. There would be no debate because there's nothing really to compromise on. I think that right now the IDF should actually line up the 9 million reservists they just activated, put them shoulder to shoulder, and just walk all the Palestinians directly into the Mediterranean and then bomb the ships they get on. That is how little I give a fuck about them.
I wouldn't go
as
that
an atheist,
far personally,
I
but
do
hey,
not believe in such a thing as a holy
question.
land.
Well, I mean, that's
question,
fine, man.
though.
You're allowed to have your opinion.
Hey, Sparks.
Yes, sir.
Would you by chance be up for a debate on Israel if I was to moderate and host it?
Sure. I mean, man, you got to pull someone better than Owen. I'd hate to face fuck him again on.
Oh no,
on the interwebs.
Most, if not all, of my subscriber base are better and wittier than Owen, more reasonable than Owen. Cunt Donald.
I mean, I will tell you, I'm not very reasonable on Israel. I will concede that I do not think that America needs to be sending them all kinds of money, but I don't think America needs to be sending anyone money. Yet again, nationalist.
Fair enough. I mean, I pretty much am in agreement. Like, just to sort of lay my beliefs on the table for right now. I mean, Israel is a little bit of a complicated debate, but nonetheless, I give my verbal support to them at least. As far as any support outside of that, definitely no monetary support.
I would personally join the IDF and help them purge the world of Arabs. I do not care. That's how little I care.
Isn't the IDF on Hamas's and Palestine side, though?
No, the IDF is the Israeli Defense Force.
My bad. I guess.
Yeah, every Israeli citizen is a member of the IDF.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent time over there in Israel. I have worked alongside the IDF. Their women are beautiful, and
except
Gal Gadot.
Okay, so kind of referring to what I said earlier about how my fans are more reasonable than Owen, except Chatsburg, though he might not count as a fan. I would actually argue that Chatsburg is a slightly tougher cookie to handle than Owen, at least.
Well, I mean, look, the only thing I really ask is, for the love of God and all things that are holy, do not bring Ham Sandwich on, because he doesn't debate. He just at the world.
Hamsburglar.
Precisely.
It is the most pointless thing to even engage in any type of discourse with him, unless you're talking about getting pounded in the buttocks, and then he is your subject matter expert.
Right. So another thing that I was wanting to mention was, did you guys hear that even The Hill has come out and admitted that that coronavirus came from a Chinese lab and that Fauci was kind of in cahoots with that?
It's not that the Hill has actually admitted it. It's the fact that there's a couple of studies that have come out now, and they came out months ago, and they were able to bury them because January 6th is still the most pressing danger that we have. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Worse than 9/11.
Oh no, 9/11 was nothing. Oh, the horror. I was there. You just don't understand how rough it was.
All those broken windows and all those people yelling. It was horrifying.
That one person getting shot in the face by
people practically melting in fires and having to be forced to jump off so as to save themselves from burning to death. Oh, that has nothing to compare with a whole bunch of people roughhousing the Capitol building.
With a couple of
I was
third.
By the way, disclaimer to everybody: nobody is advocating for the Capitol riot itself.
Hold on. Addendum to that. You're correct.
Yeah, I was.
Burn the
not
Capitol.
No.
around
I had a feeling that you were gonna have some kind of a witty one-liner right there, because I do remember that in a couple of live streams on your channel that you did say, I was all for the protesting, but the riot itself, no. It was gone too far.
No, I'm not. No, there's a certain line, man, of decorum. Look, I'm all about peaceful protesting. I don't care what side you're on or anything like that. You can scream Black Lives Matter to your fullest content, but if you're blocking the road, I may plow you over with a semi, and it will be legal if you're in my state. I'm just saying. But
did you see the one video of where that they attacked a fuel tanker? They're pretty much risking that thing blowing up on their shit, and a couple of city blocks too.
Look, Oklahoma passed a law stating that if there are people riding in the streets and they surround your vehicle, you have the inalienable right to defend yourself by running them smooth the hell over. I see nothing wrong with that. A lot of leftist activists, of course, are appalled. How dare you take away their primary means of intimidation? Because what they like to do is they like to surround you, destroy your car, and then when you run them over, they sue you because they don't give a shit about the cause that they claim. It's all a grift.
Yeah, they call. And they have the audacity to call people like me selfish, people like libertarians selfish. I
like a lot of libertarian ideals. I really do, but y'all are some cringy sons of bitches.
Love you too, Sparky.
Bro, if the only thing you care about is illegal weed,
that's not all.
Man.
That's not
it. Dude.
Yeah, that's
what does the Libertarian Party run on?
Last year might be one of the big ones, but the Libertarian Party doesn't even represent all libertarian thought. Libertarian Party doesn't even represent all libertarian thought. Like, a whole lot of libertarians are all about property rights to an even fuller extent than a whole lot of conservatives. They're more pro-gun rights than a whole lot of conservatives.
That's the kind of stuff I tend to love. I love the extreme and anarcho freaking capitalist bullshit. I love that. I like the absolute freedom, but I hate the libertarians that deny national sovereignty. I loathe the libertarians that'll sit there and go, well, it's completely fine to just kill babies. It's
that's not all libertarians as well, but I was just pointing at private property and gun rights as being two things on top of weed that they care about.
I mean, look, I don't care. Look, if you want to legalize weed, do it already. I'm sick of it. But
allow me to interject.
Of course.
Sure, Whitesnake.
Basically, I think you're absolutely correct when you sort of sort of complain about libertarians. Like, personally, I came from the more Ayn Rand objectivist wing when I first got into libertarianism,
Yeah.
and sort of they would sort of not call themselves libertarians, and I think for very good reason. I think that Ayn Rand's criticism of libertarianism is also my criticism of libertarianism, even though I would consider myself now to be a sort of libertarian, and that would be that basically Ayn Rand would call, and other objectivists would consider libertarians, quote, the hippies of the right.
Yeah,
and I agree with that.
I dig those type of guys. Like, okay, Ron Paul. Now, I loathe Ron Paul personally. I really dislike Ron Paul, but I love his principles. And the reason why I loathe him is because when he sent me, when him and all of his congressional mates sent me over to war, which he voted against, and I get that. But once a decision is made, you have to fund the troops and give them body armor and stuff like that. So it's one thing to stand on principle, but when you are going to send other people to go die for your fucking country, you best fund them. And for that, I will never forgive Ron Paul. God forgives, I get vengeance, damn it. And
what the fuck? I mean,
Paul wanted to bring the troops.
I mean, if that's supposed to be like a death threat or something,
no, it's not a death threat
or an assault threat.
No, not at all. I mean, if that's the way you want to take it, go for it. I actually like the idea of the consumer.
I was saying if I'm not trying to.
No, I wouldn't do that. Look, I'm not into hurting people, but goddamn, look, here's the deal. If I would love to sit down with Dr. Ron Paul, and I would love to just go, did you ever think about the consequences of some of the things that you actually did while you were a senator? How many people died because
representative? I don't think he was ever a senator.
Oh, okay. While you were a representative, do you understand how many people died because you were holding up a vote on money that would have provided body armor and up armor and vehicles for soldiers that you didn't vote to send to war, but because you were on a principled stance? Oh, well, I'm not going to vote to fund it because, they can't fight without money. Well, guess what? The government does every time it runs out of money.
He was also trying to vote at the same time that they get pulled back out of the wars at the same time of defunding. So it's not like he was trying to do one before the other. I don't think he was putting the cart before the horse. I think he was trying to do both at the same time.
Ron Paul killed people due to his inability to understand that people were going regardless of what he did. And that's where I have a problem.
I don't agree with the logic, but whatever. To address this, one chat comment that I had pulled up for the past few minutes now, and then get on back to Biden very briefly, and then probably shut this down at about the 2 hour and maybe 2 hour 15-minute mark. Anyway, is Chatsburg even still around? No, he is not. Common sense guy. We pretty much ignore each other nowadays.
That's a shame. I love a good troll. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much he's a psycho, and he pretty much thinks that I'm a dishonest actor. So,
well, I mean, look, me and you have had our differences in our past. I mean, you've actually called me one of the biggest assholes you've ever dealt with online,
and you still are. No,
no, I'm okay with that. I don't.
No, if it makes you feel any better, I've actually friended actual fascists and actual Marxists on Discord, if that makes you feel any better.
Damn.
Well, just to put it forth, like they're bigger assholes than Sparky, but anyway.
Yeah.
That sounds like a challenge, my brother.
I mean, you okay. Anyway, so getting back to Biden, what do you have to say? What do you have to say about your disapproval of Biden, Sparky?
It's not Biden I disapprove of. It's the policies that if he was of his righteous, conscious mind, he would never bring forward. These are not Biden's policies. If you think they're Biden's policies, you have no idea what Biden stood for throughout his entire adult life that he's turned a complete 180 against. And you're blind to the fact that the man is a potato.
Well, I don't really care as to how that you want to look at it. If you think that somebody's just signing the pieces of paper behind closed doors and then presenting it to him for him to sign his signature on or whatever, just
pretty much
his general administration, what you disapprove of happening from him and whatnot.
look, his administration. What I disapprove of is the fact that on his first day in office, he canceled over 10,000 jobs. The fact that they are paying
Keystone?
people, yes, they are paying people
Fair
more.
enough.
They're paying people more money right now to sit at home with their thumb up their ass than they are to work. We have 8 million jobs open, and one of the lowest and most anemic jobs numbers this past quarter. And it's because why is anyone even going to take a job for $15 an hour when unemployment is paying 16?
Right.
I look at what's going on in Israel right now. You know, those rockets that were shot over, the Biden administration bought those because Donald J. Trump actually, during his time, cut off the Palestinian Authority, the PA, from all foreign monies. And of course, Joseph Biden, went through and erased almost 90% of all the policies that Trump had.
Orange man bad.
Our southern border is being overran with COVID-infested child molesters because he decided to get rid of the stay in Mexico policy. However, I don't blame Biden for it. I don't think Biden's competent enough to make these decisions. I believe there are people whispering in his ear, well, Trump did this, and we all know orange man bad. Yeah, orange man bad. What do I do? And they go, you just do this, Joe. Oh, okay, I'll do it. What we are seeing is elder abuse. And I'm not going to demonize the man.
Wait, hold on.
When he
Was
does
that an impression of Biden, or was that an impression of
just
I forget his name, but basically
Bernie Sanders? No, he was
Fred
impersonating
Flintstone's friend in Fred
Whitesnake.
Flintstone's best friend,
Barney Rubble.
Whitesnake. He was impersonating Joe Biden, talking to the elder abusers. But
for some reason, that kind of reminded me of Barney from the Flintstones.
Well, I mean, look, I'm not really much of an impersonator. I just make shit memes and talk trash online, and occasionally draw cartoons of Astartes and stuff, which I'll be doing more of that tomorrow. But no, it's I don't blame him, because in order to blame him, that would be to admit that he is cognizant enough to know what he's doing. So the actions of the administration, I denounce. Joe Biden, I just want him to go to the old folks' home where he belongs. He needs to sit in the chair with the blanket over his lap, petting Major, because all Major needs is someone to play with. So yes, the Astartes are Space Marines. I am going to be streaming as a cartoon here in the next week or so. So
you're gonna try to be a VTuber?
No, I'm not gonna be a VTuber. I'm gonna.
You're gonna get some CG suit so that you can make it look.
All this is busted. You see this? No one wants to look at this. So drawing myself as a bloodthirsty cartoon and just doing ridiculous shit and occasionally blowing my head off would be more entertaining than looking at my fat freaking orcish ass. It just is what it is.
Well, and here, let me help you out here very quickly.
Also, hey Maverick.
Hey, but at least I don't LARP as an Antifa dude. Just saying.
I'm not LARPing as an Antifa dude this time, though. I'm LARPing as a Nazi. Heil Hitler. No.
He's not this tall, I hear. You know, Kyle?
I will never.
No, that was how high his gas bill was.
I will never associate with Nazis. I know I said I friended fascist, but when I said that, I was specifically referring to like the
Pinochet sympathizing Nazis.
No, I mean the Mussolini people.
Or the fascists, I mean. Oh,
well,
okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay, so here's the deal.
Just to clarify.
Nazis aren't a real thing. The Nazi party was dissolved in what, 43, 44? There is a neo-Nazi now. If they are like extremely, oh yeah, I'm for the Fourth Reich or the Fifth Reich or the 12th Reich or whatever Reich, who cares? Yeah, those are really bad shitlords. And you should mock them and make fun of their penis size. It's just, it is what it is.
They have penises?
Hitler only had one nut. True story. Look it up. Oh, also his mother was a Jew. Guess who he blamed for his one testicle?
Ooh.
His mom.
I'm sorry to kind of rewind back a little bit though. What were you saying about Biden before I featured that chat comment?
Man, look, I'm like a dog, squirrel. So I kind of lost my train of thought. No, everything going on with the Biden administration, I do not blame Biden for. I blame his handlers. They're taking advantage of a man who is not cognizant of where he is. A lot of times he doesn't know, what temperature the time is, and he really needs to sit down, and he needs to play with that damn dog that keeps shitting on the White House floor and biting people. Okay. Major needs love. In fact, I even did a cartoon where my bulldog talked about how Major's a good boy. Oh, him's a good boy. Go by and actually check it out. It's not a horrible cartoon. You'll see what type of animation I do. I did a Tucker Carlson segment. I did a Joe Biden speech. Of course, made up. I did Dr. Fauci speech, or Dr. Fauci, as I like to call him, because he's a fake ass doctor, because he has never really practiced medicine ever. He has spent his entire life in a bureaucracy. By the way, do you know how much money he made in the 80s off the AIDS epidemic? Because he was the one that held back the cocktail until he got enough shares. Guess who were the prime owners of shares for Moderna and Pfizer? Dr. Fauci is an evil son of a bitch. Anthony Fauci, I cannot wait until he dies and goes to hell. Pineapples going up his ass every 5 minutes.
Right, and because of the whole thing that the Hill pretty much confirmed to everybody, like even to leftists, because leftists obviously they would not buy a right-wing conspiracy theorist website that goes talking about this, but the Hill they might believe well enough, saying that there was that coronavirus came from a lab in China and that Fauci was in cahoots with it and whatnot in association and operation of it, or helping assistance of it. Let's put it that way. So because of all that, I'd say that he definitely needs to put on congressional trial and locked up for the rest of his life.
No. See, I don't think he needs to be brought to congressional trial, because then it would be nothing more than a political pissing match. He actually needs to be brought in front of criminal trial with actual people on the jury, not these plastic sons of bitches that for some reason people keep voting in. Okay.
Right. I mean, that would be a better method. My thing is, though, is that realistically it probably would be a congressional trial.
They keep getting voted in because people don't pay attention to this shit, that goes on.
Well,
right.
See, the problem is,
just realistically, I think that it would happen through a congressional trial, since he is like of high bureaucratic political office.
And that's the problem. Okay, we have a 3-tiered justice system. We have one for the politicians, one for the rich, and one for everyone else. And what we need to do is we need to take the politician class, and we need to knock them off their damn pedestal, and we need to hold them accountable to the people, not just at the voting booth, but when they actually break the law, like Ilhan Omar, who openly advocates for terrorist organizations. When she gets caught doing something like, I don't know, marrying her brother for immigration purposes, and I'm sure they consummated the marriage.
I almost feel like the communist theme song should be playing in the background right now, but in the best way.
Guys,
you're saying Whitesnake?
Sorry to interject, but looking at the time, it's getting pretty late, and I have to go.
All right. Well, thanks for joining, and I guess I'll see you later, Whitesnake.
See ya.
Hey, man.
Also, love Dark Side of the Moon. Take care.
Yeah.
Right.
No, we need to stop giving these privileged ass, to use their own words, politicians the benefit of allowing their friends to determine guilt or innocence. We need to bring them in front of a jury of their peers. What they are doing is breaking federal laws, and they need to be held accountable in federal court for it. Now, I don't blame China for the spreading of the COVID virus, and it's because of this one true fact. Nothing from China is ever meant to last. If they export it, it is sheer garbage. So with that in mind, they made the same drywall they were selling to us that was radioactive back in the like early 2000s. It's probably the same freaking drywall they hung up in their own fucking lab. So if they make such shitty products, why would you not expect their level 4 biosecurity lab to not leak shit?
Really?
Yeah,
no, I'm 100% with you on that.
I mean, look, if they are willing to put lead paint on our kids' toys so our kids can chew it and get a little bit of the Asperger's, look, who's to say that their carelessness, they're wanting to cut every penny so they can earn that sweet, sweet one, that corners weren't cut to where they accidentally release this virus. Now, luckily, because everything manufactured in China is total shit, even the virus isn't even all that effective. So,
yeah, it's just a big old fear tool is what it is.
Yes.
Fear propaganda tool.
So the way I look at it is, honestly, what we should be doing is we should be holding the politicians accountable. And yes, I am a dyed-in-the-wool Trump supporter. And Donald J. Trump needs to be held accountable for his part in the gaslighting of America. You want to talk? Hillary Clinton came out and was talking about things like, we need, what was the quote? What was the quote? Let me bring it up real quick. There has to be a global reckoning with disinformation. I agree. Let's start with you, Hillary.
You think that Donald Trump needs to be held accountable for how he went along with some of the pro-lockdown narrative over coronavirus?
No. Now, and here's the reason why. And
or which is it that you're calling gaslighting that he needs to be held accountable for? Then
I want him to be held accountable, and not necessarily criminally. I want him to be held accountable for not asking the questions, a dereliction of duty, if you will. Because look, you cannot be an expert on everything. Donald Trump is one hell of a marketing guy. Donald Trump is one hell of a businessman. And for that, he actually ran the country like a business. He surrounded himself with experts. The problem is he spent over half of his administration time fighting because he hired the wrong people. Think about it. We had the Undersecretary of Defense bragging about how he got away with lying to the Commander-in-Chief about how many people we had in Syria. The moment he came out laughing about that, Donald J. Trump was still in office. Donald Trump should immediately fired him and had him arrested for defrauding the government.
Well, I know that Mike Pence betrayed him.
Yes. Well, look, I don't know. I don't know about that. And I was there on January 6th. The decision that he made, I don't know if he took it lightly or not. But the gravity of that situation, I'm going to be quite frank with you. He would have been the first of any vice president to go that far. Do you really want to be that guy? So I don't blame him. I don't appreciate what he did, but I don't blame him. You know, I try to be reasonable. I say some hyperbolic shit, and I like to set people off and just say some crazy things because, well, it gives me ha-has. But the reality is, in the end, I am quite freaking reasonable. I'm like Tim Pool, but without the douchey fucking beard and beanie. I'm pretty milquetoast, and without all of his wonderful money. Oh God, man.
No, but instead you got a blubber face.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, and that's why I'm turning myself to a cartoon. Not to be a VTuber, but because who really wants to look at Shrek every fucking time? Look, I know what I look like. I wake up every morning and I look at the mirror that is cracked, by the way. And I just go, oh, what the fuck happened to you? And you know what the mirror says back? You happened to you fat fuck. And I'm like, fair enough. Okay.
So I guess to sort of bring up one topic that I almost forgot to bring up this whole time is foreign policy under Biden. What criticisms? I mean, if you were like pretty much done with what you're about to say there, Sparky, but you mentioned Syria, and that kind of reminded me of that. What do we have to say in regards of Biden when it comes to foreign policy like Iran deal, the one Syria strike that he did a couple months ago, etc. What else have to say?
That was honestly the dumbest strike. I think 3 people died. Yeah, it was pointless.
I think, from what I recall researching on that, the appropriate people that they struck back at, they had originally struck some of our boys on the
Okay. So no, those were people associated with the people who struck our guys, and by the way, didn't kill a single American.
And from what I also researched as well, there were no civilian deaths involved with that. It's kind of like the Shea Rat airfield attack that Trump did, in his first year in office.
I didn't support that either.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just put it this way.
I'm pretty anti-interventionist these days. Look, there was a time where I was like, fuck it, let's kill them all. But the reality is, look, my war is over, and I will never – I don't think that it is right for me to advocate for war when I won't go myself.
Here's my thing. I think that the one time of where that retaliation is appropriate is if you end up attacking us originally, even if it's our own military boys over there. Like Soleimani, I think was completely justified. We do not need to go into a full-on war with Iran. I think killing Soleimani himself was enough, but all the same, that was violent retaliation for what he violently did beforehand, and for the past 10 years too, for that matter. And also, I want to add, the only thing that I really disagree with about these attacks that we're mentioning right here between both Biden and Trump is that they're doing them executively. Like I do not know what exactly they could do to get it done fast as that, and
it has
also
to be through executive. It has to be through executive action. So yeah, that's actually the way it's set up. The reason why the president can do that is because if it has to be done quickly and decisively, it goes through the presidency. It's done through executive action. If you want to actually go to war, well, you got to go beg Congress for it. Here's the point.
Fair enough, and I guess technically he was not declaring war. He was just having a one-off. They both, for that matter, were having a one-off retaliation within their appropriate circumstances. The problem with the Syria attack with Trump is the fact that we didn't do it in defense of American citizens. We did it in defense of Syrian citizens. Who give a shit? Right. Yeah,
even Trump took some fire there because I was even seeing memes of like what was that one for Step Brothers or what it was? It was basically one of them had an American flag, one of them had an ISIS flag, and it was like, dude, did we just become best friends?
Yeah,
and that was actually why Trump dropped that Moab on the ISIS base in Afghanistan, was pretty much in response to that, because it really it put America in a place where it almost looked like we supported ISIS.
Yeah,
and he was trying to put that down.
From what I read about the Shea Rat airfield attack, though, I mean, yeah, there was none of our guys that were like attacked or anything like that, but they were like the logic that I understand as to why they retaliated is not only because of the civilian death, but also because our guys were like in range and they were afraid that they were going to go off on the military guys, so they struck first before Syria.
Yeah, no. See, that is as someone who's been downrange, been there. That's a horseshit reason. Look, the reason given to the American people primarily was the fact that they dropped chemical weapons on their own people. Who cares? Seriously, why is it America's job to be the world's freaking police?
It's not.
Ethically and morally, I would say that I care for. I mean, it's a pity that it happened to them, but is it our job? Should we do anything? That is where that I lean. I guess I would say no.
No. So the incoming straw man. Then go yourself.
Wait, what?
That's if you support America fighting war for other people, go yourself. And that's where I'm at, because
you're responding to the other people. I thought you were confused with what I said there.
No, and that's where I'm at. Look, like the whole Israel and Palestine thing, America has no point being in it. Let Israel do what they're going to do. Let Palestine do what they're going to do. But no, Joe Biden sent $10 million to the Palestinian Authority, who is run by Hamas. And so he is now funding terrorism, which, by the way, is illegal.
Wait a minute. Who again exactly is funding terrorism? Oh, Biden.
The Biden administration today released $10 million to the Palestinian Authority, who is run by Hamas, which is a terrorist organization, and their primary meaning for existence, as stated in their charter, is to wipe the Jewish people off the earth. If that's what they want to do, you pick the wrong Jews. I'm just saying. You better go to New York City and oy vey them fucks. The real Jews.
Oh,
Israel,
shit.
them motherfuckers.
The Sparky an anti-Zion or an anti-Semite. Whee!
No. Sparky is a Jew. Oy vey. No. Look.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like, okay, I'm not the best Jew because look, it's after dark, it's Shabbat, and I'm online. Okay, I'm breaking the rules. By the way, I love bacon too. But no, I follow the Jewish religion. I am a Messianic Jew. I'm a Jew with Jesus. I am not actually accepted in the tribe as one of the chosen people, but I do follow the Torah. I do believe in Jesus Christ. I am Christian, but Messianic Judaism. I follow the Torah. I follow the Old Testament as well. Well, the Torah is the New Testament, and the Old Testament, and the New Testament as well.
I would have to have a one-on-one conversation with you sometime about the Messianic Jewish religion and
Jews
as far
Jesus.
as following the Torah goes.
Yeah. Well, look, Jesus didn't do away with the laws of God. He added to them. In fact, God was more forgiving. Jesus was a tyrant. Jesus was the bad motherfucker when it come down to it. And he sacrificed himself for the betterment of humankind. But while he was on earth in the flesh, he was not a bitch made inward. And he kicked ass when needed to. So he even said, I am the tyrant. So
I would kind of get into the disagreement right here, but I'm one to wrap up this live stream here.
No, I feel you.
Also, speaking of Jews, who here thinks that Ben Shapiro and Abby Shapiro are the same person?
They're not.
Well, like Abby Shapiro is Ben Shapiro in a wig.
No
way, dude. I mean, look at the body builds between them two. I mean, Ben Shapiro is too squarish. Abby Johnson is more slender in the torso. Yeah,
no, I'm just not going to go there. I mean, yes, you can definitely tell that they definitely have the same parents and everything, and yes, they are related. But did you know that Ben Shapiro's wife just happens to be a doctor, and so that's very important stuff that you need to remember. And where Abby Shapiro is not a doctor, what she is a common household bitch that likes to talk about the conservative way of living in America and being a happy housewife. And I really support that. I truly do. But Ben Shapiro's wife happens to be a doctor, which makes him so much more important.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, it's a sort of. Is there anything more that we want to say about Joe Biden? The admittance of the Armenian genocide. That's probably the only other thing that I can somewhat approve of Biden doing, or the Biden administration in general. Whether or not you actually credit old senile Uncle Joe for or not, but nonetheless,
I don't know if I credit him for that. I do know that in his past he has made mentions of certain atrocities that went unrecognized in America. It's something that I can respect, at least. Did he make that decision? I don't know. I mean, if I want to be principled and stand on my previous statements that he's incompetent and everything, chances are he probably didn't. But I mean, we're talking about something that in the social justice world, in the world of woke, America has to acknowledge every wrong that has ever happened in the history of the world. Otherwise, they're just not woke enough. When you look at Dave Chappelle mentioned on Joe Rogan's podcast, no one is ever woke enough. Biden is racing to the bottom, trying to be the most wokenest progressivist presentatus that we've ever had. He wants people to love him. Look, Donald Trump is a populist. Donald Trump is someone who wants everyone to love him. I just want to be adored. I want to be adored. It's not Orange Man bad. It's Orange Man rad. Donald Trump is a populist. There's nothing wrong with that. And he is so much of a nationalist, which is something I do approve of. No, nationalism is not bad. Nationalism means that you want your country to prosper over every other. So don't think of it as the seeking Kyle. He's about this tall. Hi, I'm Kyle type thing. No, it's literally you want your country to succeed over all others. If that's wrong, I don't want to be right. But when you look at a lot of things that Biden has done, he hasn't even held true to himself. I really wonder if completely, utterly awesome and totally inclusive, wonderful, brave, and beautiful Dr. Jill Biden isn't the one pulling some of the strings. Behind every strong man is usually a pretty good woman. Well, when you have a weak man pretending to be strong, maybe you have a strong bitch behind him. It's just a theory. And right. I dislike the policy that the Biden administration, but I'm not going to demonize Joe because I do believe that he's mentally incapacitated, which means, unfortunately, that we would get Camel Toe coming in with her wonderful Silac, running our foreign policy. And I think she would race to do nothing more to start a war to show that her female dick is bigger than all the men's. And that's something I don't want. But I think legitimately we've had 124 flag officers, those are generals and admirals in the United States military, come forward and state Joe Biden is incompetent and they are questioning the results. Personally, I think they're a bunch of fucking cowards because they waited this long to do it. Why 4 months into a presidency? Why not call it out in November, December? Why not in October? Do you think this was some revelation that it just woke up with one day and went, oh, I think Joe Biden happens to be incompetent because he does things that we don't like? If you paid attention to a damn thing he did while he was on the campaign trail, while he's sitting there challenging fuckers to push-ups and asking what city is he in today, you would realize the man's off his gourd. And he would have never been elected if we would have had brave people standing up to our shithole media and said, no, fuck you. You're not going to call me some type of conspiracy theorist. This is what I believe. And if your opinion is valid, why isn't mine? Actually challenge you, punching these people in the face with the exact same shit that they throw. I mean, right now, the biggest craze going on in America is we actually have parents standing up finally to the education system who are literally trying to teach your children white supremacist propaganda. The same propaganda that the National Socialist Party of Germany was pushing in 1939 is essentially the exact same shit the woke are trying to push today with critical race theory. Because in critical race theory, minorities, they're either too inept or too stupid to realize what is going on and do anything. And it's always the white supreme pizzas that are always able to do shit. You are literally saying white people are superior, and that is disgusting. And that'll probably get taken out of context. And mazel tov for you trolls.
White supreme pizzas.
Nice.
And side note, supreme pizza is my favorite pizza. Meat lovers is all right, but it sometimes gets to be too much.
Especially if they're white supreme pizzas, right?
Sure.
I actually like
that
a
red
white
tomato
sauce.
with a white garlic sauce.
Yeah, that's
Alfredo
really what I'm talking
sauce.
about. But
Yeah, Alfredo. But
Alfredo
anyway,
or the white garlic.
So to I guess kind of wrap up this stream, do either of you have any last minute comments about Joe and whatnot for a quick minute?
He's a senile old shithead. There I said it.
JC Armitage, I just want to say you're wrong. Pineapple does not go on pizza.
You know what?
Tinsel, no.
You know what? Look, JC Armitage, I guess that's how you say your name. Yeah, I'm all about the pineapple pizza. Fuck the haters. Look, whatever you think is good, it's your opinion. It's going in your mouth. Shouldn't you enjoy it? Who cares what DarkCon thinks? It's not going in his mouth. Only things that he enjoys should go in his mouth. And I'll leave it there for your interpretation.
Yeah, I was like, I'm about to hover over the mute mic button, but whatever. Anyway, Sparky, any final last minute comments about Joe, or do you think you got everything off your chest?
Oh man, I could go on for hours, but you know what? We don't need that. You don't need that, and well, the world doesn't need to hear all the vile shit that I have to say. But what I would like to say is, look, if I made you laugh, if I said some stupid shit that you might have enjoyed, and if I said something that you really hated or something that you really liked, go over to youtube.com/AircraftSparky. Go over there, hit that subscribe button, tickle that bell icon for me, and come watch me on Manic Mondays. And of course, Thursday night streams on Wednesday nights. Those are my political shows. Tomorrow I will be doing an art stream where I will continue to draw at Astarte as a cartoon for myself. And if you would like to share this real quick, just a preview. This was actually a mock-up that I did.
Nice.
But this is just a nothing drawing. The real drawing is being done tomorrow. But that just gives you an idea of what I'm doing. I'm actually going to be doing live stream cartoons, not VTuber, cringy freaking anime bullshit. Although I do like the bounce of the anime titties. I'm not going to put anime titties on myself and bounce around. There are limits to the degeneracy that even I will do. Unlike DarkCon, who made his degeneracy public tonight by showing his suggested list on YouTube. The algorithm is never wrong. All praise YouTube and the glorious Wunderjew who runs it.
All praise YouTube for exposing the fact that DarkCon likes big boobs. Yeah, sure.
Yes. See, there's nothing wrong with it. Degenerate fuck. I like all boobs, but that's just me. Look, I'm equal opportunity. Look, y'all have a great night, and until next time, you have a great day. God bless.
All right, I just want to say, I just want to give one last word. I am Night Shift 10,000, and my closing words are: run guns, sell drugs, nail sluts, and fuck the state. Thank you, and good night.
And as far as final closing announcements go, I'm gonna have to have a live stream, one-on-one live stream sometime with AircraftSparky, talking about Jewish related religions and Torah and Old Covenant law in general, in comparison to typical non-denominational, in my case, or Protestant, if you want to go that route, Christian theology. Compare the two there. Discuss it, debate it, whatever. And also, I'm going to have to get an organized debate between Derpy Redneck, a.k.a. Wes Savage, in the live chat. This was the guy that I was suggesting for debating about Israel. By the way, Derpy Redneck, AircraftSparky right here, and I will gladly be the moderator, and I will try to be heavy on that mute button in Aircraft's case. But anyway. So, do not know when exactly those will happen, but those will be in the works here soon. Anyway, I am your host, the Dark Conservatarian, and this has been Strike Force News, and thank you all for tuning in. Too bad we could not have Doug Stuber on to get a pro-Biden guide to get it really spicy here on the live stream, but hey, you cannot have everything. Anyway, y'all have a good night, a good weekend, stay safe, God bless, and